On my birthday, I caught my boyfriend kissing another girl like he couldn't bear to part from her. I glanced over, calmly picked up my phone, and sent him a message. What are you doing? Across from me, Alex was holding the campus belle's head in one hand, kissing her deeply. With his free hand, he slowly typed back. Sleeping. You should sleep early too. I'm in the booth behind you. Come have a drink with me. Chapter 1. Alex walked toward me slowly, each step like it was stomping on my heart, each one a sharp ache. I forced a deep breath and tried to keep my voice steady. Your kissing skills have really improved. Not like 5 years ago when you kissed me like a shy rookie. I thought I could keep it together, but my eyes still turned red. I had loved Alex for 5 years. 5 years. And they were no match for someone new. How could the man who gave me flowers yesterday be kissing someone else today? Alex frowned, rubbed his temple, and replied coldly, Zoe, stop making a scene. I laughed in disbelief. You think I'm making a scene? He stared at me coldly. I raised my glass and poured the entire drink onto his face. Happy 5-year anniversary, Alex. Chapter 02. I don't remember how I got back. All I recall is drinking at the booth, and then drunkenly hugging a hot guy, asking him why he didn't want me. When I woke up, I was already lying here. Suddenly, I felt cold inside. 5 years with Alex and we'd never even done anything like this, yet now, before I could even cry, the man in bed slowly opened his eyes. Those striking phoenix-shaped eyes immediately welled up with tears. Are you trying to avoid taking responsibility for me? His voice trembled, pitiful and on the verge of tears. My head throbbed. I rubbed my temples, watching him about to cry, and had no choice but to calm him down first. No, of course not. Can you just tell me what happened last night? He raised an eyebrow. What's this? Big sister doesn't want to admit it now? Chapter 03. Just as I was about to argue with him, my alarm went off. Crap, first day at work. I jumped up, but he pinned me down again. Where are you going, big sis? I ignored him, pushed his hand away, and frantically scrambled for my clothes. I have to go to work. Once I'd gotten ready, I noticed he was holding my phone. He smiled. At least leave your contact info. Don't just hit it and quit it. Me? I snatched my phone from his hand and saw what he'd saved himself as, husband. Stunned, I asked, what's your name? With a grin and 2 mischievous dimples, he said, husband. I threw my bag at him. Get out. Chapter 04. The new CEO of the company was named Bruno. Rumor had it he was ruthless in business, sharp, fast, and decisive. And I was late on my very first day. The employee elevator was packed. Thinking Bruno would never use it, I ran to the CEO elevator. The doors opened slowly. I kept my head down and saw nothing but long legs and tailored black slacks. Sorry. Wrong elevator. I turned to leave, but a long arm pulled me back into his embrace. Voice gritted between teeth. Running again? Trying to ditch me? I turned to look at him and froze. Wasn't this the guy I slept with last night? Chapter 05. Just as I was mentally preparing to flee, Bruno's assistant Jean spoke up. Sir, she's just a regular employee. Sharing the elevator with us might be inappropriate. I nodded frantically. Bruno, still holding me close, didn't loosen his grip. He looked at Jean coldly. Got a problem with it? Then get out. He pressed the button, and Zhang was kicked out. Bruno tightened his arm around me, sounding rather smug. Where were you planning to escape to this time, big sis? I took a deep breath, ready to risk losing my job. President, there's nothing between us. His eyes instantly turned red. So, you really don't want to take responsibility for me? Me? Chapter 06. The elevator reached the top floor without further incident. As the doors opened, I nearly went numb. I had finally managed to get rid of Bruno, and now I just wanted to post on Quora. Any thrilling life experiences? Yes, I slept with my boss. Anything more thrilling? Also yes, the girl my ex cheated with works at my company. The girl in front of me was dressed in an elegant white dress, her curly hair flowing gracefully down her back. She smiled at me gently, but I recognized her profile instantly. It was her, the one kissing Alex in the booth. She was the campus beauty back in their university days. Alex and I were high school sweethearts. Honestly, the signs were all there. Miranda would send him cute stickers in the morning asking if he'd gotten up yet. Alex would reply with an equally cutesy emoji. On her birthday, she posted 2 cakes for him to choose from. Alex carefully commented which one looked better. Her contact name on his phone? Piggy. That used to be my nickname. When I confronted him, phone in hand, all he said was, "Zoe, stop being dramatic." I didn't get it back then. I thought that as long as he didn't break up with me, he still loved me. I also thought I still loved him, until I saw them kissing in that booth. There was still a dull ache in my chest, but I knew clearly now. I didn't love him that much anymore. Chapter 07. I nodded at Miranda and headed straight for my desk, only to find it a total mess. Coffee had spilled all over it, soaking my documents and staining the papers. The pages were wrinkled and shoved into a soggy pile in the corner. I quickly grabbed some tissues to clean it, but the coffee just kept spreading, splashing even onto my coat. I clenched the tissue in my hand and swept my gaze over the room. Who did this? Miranda blinked like she just noticed, flashing me an apologetic smile, those shallow dimples. That fake innocence. Ugh. Alex always had a thing for pretentious coquettes. She stepped forward with a tissue, pretending to help me wipe the desk. Sorry, I bought coffee for everyone earlier and didn't realize yours wasn't stable. I guess it spilled. No worries. I smiled, picking up the half-full coffee cup and pouring it all over her pristine white coat. Oh, so you're saying it wasn't on purpose? Did you just now remember to help clean it up? Or were you waiting for me to see it myself so you could step in and play the good girl? I swept my cold gaze over everyone. Some looked angry, others disgusted, but none of them said a word. Clearly, 1 cup of coffee wasn't enough to make any of them stand up for Miranda. Chapter 08. Miranda clearly hadn't expected me to be so blunt. Her eyes immediately welled up. If Alex were here, she'd probably cling to his sleeve and cry like a pitiful flower in the rain, claiming it was all a misunderstanding. Unfortunately, Alex wasn't here, but his assistant arrived. The first thing out of his mouth was, "Zoe, are you causing trouble again? First the CEO elevator, now bullying a new employee?" "Ha, I'm not a new employee." He glanced at the messy desk and seemed to understand. He gave Miranda a soft glance before turning to me with a gentler tone. "Zoe, let's just let this go, okay? Alex is one of our top clients. He asked us to take good care of his girlfriend." Oh, Alex used to hate pulling strings, but for Miranda, he suddenly makes exceptions? That must be true love. Now I understood why everyone protected Miranda. No one wanted to lose their job. They were waiting for her to drive me out so they could breathe easier. I had no choice but to nod and sit down. Chapter 09. I didn't expect Bruno to come pick me up after work. He wore a perfectly tailored suit, and when he saw me, he smiled slightly and glanced at his watch. "What's this? Still working after hours? Is the company paying you overtime now?" I forced a faint smile. I didn't tell him that Miranda had dumped a bunch of planning work on me that wasn't even mine, which was why I couldn't leave on time. Since I never intended to get involved with Bruno, I didn't want to burden him either. I just took it as an opportunity to grow stronger. But Bruno wouldn't leave. He sat on the edge of my desk, long legs crossed, and blinked at me. "Why the long face? Who upset you?" Suddenly, I felt so wronged. My chest ached with sourness, but I forced myself to swallow the tears and shook my head. "It's nothing. I just suddenly want some caramel pudding." He curved his lips into a smile, but there was no warmth in his eyes. A grown woman still craving sweets. Huh? I didn't respond. Bruno glanced at his watch again and said coldly, "Emergency meeting now. Everyone must attend." In the conference room, Bruno sat at the head of the table, his face cold and expressionless, fingers tapping lightly against the tabletop. "Zoe isn't leaving until she tells me who gave her a hard time. Nobody else leaves either." Everyone exchanged panicked looks before shifting their gazes toward me, some with fear, some pleading. Despite Miranda's darkened expression, I insisted nothing was wrong. Just then, the door opened, and Alex walked in. He frowned slightly when he saw me, but quickly turned his attention to Miranda. Softly, he said, "Why are you still at the office? Bruno's face turned grim. Who let you in? Alex stood tall, expression icy. Is it a crime to pick up my girlfriend after work? Oh really? With that attitude, you look more like someone trying to buy out the company. Alex's eyes narrowed slightly. He reached for Miranda's hand, intending to leave with her, but Miranda instinctively glanced at Bruno. When he looked back at her with thinly veiled irritation, she shuddered and quietly sat back down. Alex, you go ahead. Alex looked displeased but said nothing. Bruno remained lazily seated in his chair, hands folded, watching them with a casual, condescending air. Go on, he said. Did I stop you? He gave permission, but Miranda didn't dare to move. Then Bruno stood and walked toward Alex. The sound of his leather shoes dragging across the floor felt like poetic justice with every step. Alex, control your woman, or I will. He then turned to me. This time, I smiled, genuinely. Only then did Bruno wave his hand lazily at the others and say in a deep, calm voice, meeting's over. As I picked up my bag and passed by Alex, he suddenly muttered coldly, Zoe, if you dare to go after Miranda again. He paused. Then his voice grew colder. Don't blame me for being ruthless. I stared at him for a long time. What once felt like heartbreak and sour disappointment had now numbed into nothingness. I had been with Alex for 5 years. Yet somehow, it felt like I was only truly seeing him for the first time now. 5 years ago, during a blackout in evening study hall, Alex had poked my arm. When I turned around, he handed me a small folded note. On it was his confident, youthful handwriting. Zoe, do you want to be my girlfriend? 5 years later, that same boy stood before me, holding another woman's hand, saying coldly, Zoe, don't blame me for being ruthless. As Alex was about to leave with Miranda, I called out to him. Only a few coworkers had trickled out of the office. Most had chosen to stay and watch the drama unfold. And when I called his name, it was obvious their interest had been reignited. Alex turned around, his brow furrowed in clear annoyance. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. Alex, we got together 5 years ago. 4 years ago, you met Miranda. On my birthday not long ago, you were kissing Miranda in a lounge booth. On Valentine's Day, you said you had a late-night meeting with your advisor, yet you came home with a scarf smelling like Nile perfume. Miranda subconsciously took a step back. Of course, she was the one wearing Nile. On Miranda's birthday, she posted a WeChat story thanking friends for her party. But that same day, you told me you were in a meeting. If it was just a friend's party, why lie? And Miranda, I turned my gaze toward her. I'm really flattered that you think so highly of my boyfriend. A broken light bulb? Didn't think to call maintenance, but instead asked him, can't choose a birthday cake? Ask him again. Necklace shopping? Send him the link for his opinion. You even sent him photos of your bras, asking which color he liked better. I dropped my gaze to her chest. So, are you wearing the one Alex picked for you today? The office was mostly women. Everyone here was sharp. And now, their gazes toward Miranda were tinged with obvious disdain. Miranda always wanted everyone to know about her relationship with Alex. Fine, let's make sure everyone knows, loud and clear. Even though Miranda's expression turned ugly, Alex's remained indifferent. What exactly are you trying to say? He asked. My heart ached. My hand behind my back dug deep into my palm as I forced a bright smile onto my face. I'm saying, I don't love you anymore, Alex. I thought he'd just walk away. I thought he'd nod coldly and be done with it. But in that instant, something behind his eyes seemed to crack, something he probably didn't even realize was there. His eyes reddened as he looked at me for a few moments, and then, he turned and walked out of the office. I didn't understand why he seemed sad. Maybe even he didn't understand it. 5 years is a long time to share a life with someone. So long. In fact, that when Alex merely furrowed his brows, I used to know exactly what he was thinking. But when he decided to leave me, at least in that moment, he believed his life would be better without me. And that moment? That will never be forgiven. Never. Chapter 10. The next day, I found a caramel pudding on my desk with a small note tucked beneath it. Dear Fairy Zoe, please do some paid overtime tonight and have dinner with your boss. I couldn't help but laugh. I scribbled a sure at the bottom of the note and slipped it into the proposal I was handing into Bruno's office. There weren't any shops nearby that sold caramel pudding. He must have gone out of his way to find one. That thought alone made my eyes sting with emotion. I remembered how I used to find lots of Cantonese restaurant reservations on Alex's phone, even though he didn't like Cantonese food. But Miranda did. She posted about it all the time. The times I video called Alex and he said he was busy, he was likely out eating with her. The night the power went out, I curled up on the edge of my bed, shaking. I have night blindness. Darkness, to me, is like a monster lurking at my side, waiting to devour me. I called Alex in fear. It should have been daytime where he was, but his tone was sharp, annoyed. What do you want now? Since when did I need a reason to call my own boyfriend? I stayed quiet, then hung up without saying a word. So yes, I accepted Bruno's dinner invitation. That night, at dinner, he kept fiddling with his phone. After a while, he finally set it down and asked cautiously, "You don't mind?" I casually picked up a piece of food and popped it in my mouth. "Mind what? That you took a sneaky photo of me?" He looked stunned. "Wait, how did you know?" I burst out laughing, hand trembling with the chopsticks. "Bruno, if you're gonna sneak a photo, at least turn off the flash, will you?" He had picked a Sichuan restaurant, my favorite. Alex had a weak stomach and couldn't handle spicy food, so I always compromised and ate other things with him. But surprisingly, Bruno couldn't eat spicy food either. His face turned bright red like a boiled shrimp as he chugged water like crazy. The sight made me laugh out loud. Really laugh for the first time in a while. Bruno gave me a playful glare. Cheeks puffed like an angry kitten. "Still laughing? I'm doing this for you." I reached out to rub his head, just like how Alex used to coax me when I threw a tantrum. "How'd you know I liked Sichuan food?" Bruno took another gulp of water and shot me a look. "I checked your moments. I had posted about Sichuan food years ago. After getting together with Alex, I rarely ate it again." I didn't expect Bruno to scroll through all of my old posts after adding me on WeChat. Then he started rambling. "I know you like sweet things, and spicy ones too, but spicy food hurts your stomach. You shouldn't skip breakfast either. From now on, I'll take care of your breakfast." He leaned in closer like a kid showing off, his lashes fluttering like butterfly wings, casting a shadow on his creamy skin. "Aren't I the best, sis?" I chuckled and nodded, but Bruno still wasn't satisfied. He pointed to his cheek. Just as I was about to lean in to kiss him, the door swung open. Alex walked in. His eyes were red as he stared at me. Being looked at like that, I suddenly felt awkward and sat upright, pretending to focus on my food. Bruno's expression instantly shifted back to his cold CEO demeanor. He shot a sharp look at Alex and turned to me. "Why do you keep looking at him? Don't tell me, you still like him?" "Me?" His eyes were red beneath, glossy with unshed tears. He looked like a sad, abandoned puppy. How could one person switch moods so effortlessly? My heart melted instantly. I reached out and pinched his cheek. "No, I just thought he was an eyesore. That's all." What I didn't expect was for Alex to walk over. "Zoe." I looked up at him. His expression was calm, still keeping that aloof, stay away air about him. "You should come pick up Coco when you have time. Miranda's allergic to cat fur." A wave of bitterness welled up in my chest. I couldn't help but feel useless. I thought I had already let go of Alex, but hearing him mention Coco still stung. Coco was the stray cat we adopted together, pure white, round and chubby. Alex used to joke that Coco and I were both big eaters. Back when we were still dating, he'd always hug me after work, then scoop Coco up for cuddles too. Just like in college, when he'd wait after class to feed Coco with me. He once said, "When I can afford it, I'll give her a real home." I'd smiled and said, "Then Coco thanks you in advance." He shook his head and replied, "I wasn't talking about the cat." And yet, now he couldn't even keep the cat, just because Miranda was allergic. One sentence. Alex broke his promise, twice. I nodded. I left some things there anyway. Alex put down his chopsticks altogether and said I could just get my stuff now. Bruno insisted on going with me. The moment we stepped inside, I saw the small table in the hallway. It was a cheap find I once bought from Taobao. Back then, it held a photo of me and Alex. Now, It displayed one of him and Miranda. Miranda obviously hadn't expected me. She glanced at Bruno behind me, then turned sweetly to Alex. "You're back early. I was just tidying up." Then she turned to me with a polite smile. "Sorry, Zoe. I didn't know you still wanted any of that stuff. I just put it all over there." I followed her pointing finger and, sure enough, my clothes and cup were all dumped in a messy pile in the corner. Coco saw me and ran over immediately. I picked her up and gently stroked her. She felt lighter. I didn't know how Alex had been taking care of her, but clearly, she'd lost weight. I handed Coco to Bruno and asked him for a lighter. Then I placed all those scattered clothes in a metal basin and burned them, every last piece. Alex stared at the flames. His lips moved slightly, but he said nothing. Only after a long silence did he speak. "You burned everything?" I nodded. Then I took Bruno's hand and walked out of the apartment. Chapter 11. The next morning, I found a caramel pudding on my desk with a small note underneath. "Miss Zoe the Fairy, please work overtime tonight, with pay, and join your boss for dinner." I couldn't help but laugh. I scribbled okay at the bottom of the note and slipped it into the proposal folder I was handing to Bruno. There weren't any nearby shops that sold caramel pudding. Bruno must have gone out of his way to get it, and that made my eyes sting a little. I once found lots of reservations at Cantonese restaurants in Alex's phone, places he didn't even like. Turns out, Miranda posted Cantonese food all the time on her stories while I was video calling Alex. He'd claim he was busy, but in reality, he was probably dining with her. Once, during a blackout, I curled up at the foot of my bed in fear. I suffer from night blindness. To me, darkness feels like a giant beast waiting to devour me. I called Alex, hoping for comfort. He sounded annoyed. "What now? Why are you calling again? Since when did I need a reason to call my boyfriend?" I was quiet for a moment and then hung up. So, yes, I agreed to have dinner with Bruno. That night, Bruno kept fiddling with his phone during dinner. Eventually, he put it down and looked up sheepishly. "You're not mad, right?" I was just taking a picture of the food. I didn't expect people to comment like that. "Are you mad at me?" I sighed and reassured him. He smiled with his little tiger teeth, so cute and sunny. Even through the phone, the curtains fluttered gently in the night breeze. Moonlight spilled across the bed like silver dust. Then, I blurted out, "Bruno, let's be together." A second later, I heard the loud clack of a phone dropping on the floor. I was speechless. Half an hour later, Bruno sent a WeChat message. "Come downstairs." I threw on a coat and ran outside. He was standing by the car with a bouquet of roses in hand. When he saw me, he smiled and handed them to me. The breeze ruffled his fringe, and his eyes sparkled like stars. Isn't a confession supposed to start with flowers? I hugged his neck and gently kissed his cheek. "Thank you, boyfriend." Chapter 12. I didn't expect the company to offer an opportunity for overseas exchange and training. I wanted it badly, but I had just started dating Bruno. I stared out the window, lost in thought, as Bruno rested his chin on the table beside me. His pale face was slightly puffed, his lips the color of jelly. "What are you thinking about?" When I shared my concerns, Bruno just smiled. "If the person you love is across the ocean, then we'll flatten the mountains and cross the sea." I opened my mouth to object. "But Alex," Bruno didn't let me finish. "I'm not Alex. I know what you're passionate about. I know Zoe has dreams, and she should shine in her own world. Explore the world on her own terms. Zoe, I love you, and I respect you. You can always count on Bruno." Chapter 13. Alex lost his mind. I don't know where he heard about my plans to go abroad, but he was waiting for me outside the office. His eyes red and bloodshot as he grabbed my wrist. "You're leaving? I won't allow it." It was the first time I'd ever seen him this hysterical. But instead of feeling moved, I felt sick. The same man who once warned me coldly, "Zoe, don't make me show no mercy," now pretended to act all devoted. Pathetic. I struggled to pull away, but he held tight. Seeing me fight so hard, Alex looked hurt. "You hate me? But Zoe, you came after me first." "Yes. I chased Alex first. I'd sit in the stands watching him play basketball, hand him water during breaks. He used to let me nap in class and explained lessons to me afterward. We were in a long-distance relationship for 4 years. I used to text him everything, what I ate, what I saw, even pictures of flowers on the street. So when did Miranda creep into our lives? Maybe it was when Alex began sending those cutesy emojis. When he used to reply instantly, then it became 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Those minutes? He was replying to her. He barely replied to me anymore. I used to joke that if I ever caught him cheating, I'd make sure he was ruined. But when I smelled Miranda's perfume on his scarf one day, I didn't cry or scream. I just quietly took it off and put it aside. Like a stone sinking into water, quiet, final, and unnoticed. And weirdly, I felt relieved. The breakup I'd been bracing for had finally come. So be it. I gave too much in that relationship. If there's regret, it should be his, not mine. Now I simply looked him in the eyes and said, coldly, Alex, let go. Chapter 14. After that day, Alex started showing up downstairs at my apartment every single day, holding a caramel pudding and waiting for me to come down. Each time, I'd find cigarette butts scattered around and Alex staring up at me with hopeful eyes. He even got into a fight with Bruno over who would get to keep Coco. In the end, the two childish grown men decided to place Coco on the ground and see who she would walk to. When Coco padded over to Bruno without hesitation, Alex broke down and tried to snatch her away, shouting, "Give her back to me." Bruno told me about it later, looking smug as hell. Come on. During those days when Alex was ghosting you, there's no way he took good care of Coco. I knew she'd pick me. See, Alex? Not every man who turns around deserves to be forgiven, much less worshipped. He came back again. Of course. He said he knew he'd messed up, that he wanted another chance. He offered to let me check his phone. He said he'd cut off all contact with other women. He said he'd remember my birthday this time, take me for my favorite spicy Sichuan food, and properly take care of Coco. I actually laughed from the absurdity. So, Alex, turns out you do know how a boyfriend should act. You just chose not to. Long-distance relationships don't fail because of distance. They fail because there wasn't enough love. You love yourself more, Alex. After that, I didn't see him again for a long while. Not long after, I left the country. During the 3 years I was abroad, Bruno saved 428 flight tickets. Every night, he'd video call me and tell me what he ate that day, who he met. He made ceramic mugs and mailed them to me. The bracelet I gave him? He wore it all the time. When I finally returned home, Bruno stood by the car in a crisp white shirt, holding a massive bouquet of roses in one arm and Coco in the other. When he saw me, he smiled, handed me the flowers, and draped a coat over my shoulders. I figured you missed me. Then he looked down at Coco, who was squirming to get into my arms. Well, maybe not just me. Extra chapter, Alex. Actually, I was the one who chased Zoe. She's such a dummy. Always thought she was the one who won me over. You think watching me play basketball was enough to land me? She thought she could get the top-ranked student in school, the arrogant, untouchable Alex, just like that. Truth is, I only joined the basketball team because I saw Zoe liked watching guys play. I used to think sports were a waste of time, but once Zoe started showing up like clockwork to watch me from the stands, I suddenly didn't mind it so much. Heck, sometimes I'd even lift my shirt on purpose to show off my abs. She always brought me water after practice, and I only ever drank hers. Dummy, I'd noticed her long before she noticed me. When did it start? Maybe it was when she was taking notes with her right hand while resting her head on her left arm. 30 minutes later, she was full-on snoring. The math teacher called her out, and she looked totally confused, turning to her desk mate to whisper, "How did he even notice?" Sitting in front of her, I couldn't help but laugh. The teacher gave me a stern look but didn't say anything. I tore out a sheet of paper and passed it back to her. If you don't get something, just nap. But snoring? Come on, that's next level. When I turned around again, her cheeks were bright pink, like a ripe apple. I wanted to bite her. Zoe was always hardworking, and no, I don't mean just at sleeping. Don't twist my words, or Zoe will punch me. She really did work hard, always chewing on her pen while grinding through math problems, even when she didn't get anywhere. God, she was so adorably dumb. So I simply let her sleep. I told her I'd explain the lesson after class anyway. It would reinforce my own memory. I mean, Compared to listening to our Mediterranean-looking math teacher drone on, wasn't it better to have one-on-one tutoring from the campus heartthrob? If Zoe knew what I was thinking, she'd totally scold me for being shameless. That's how I spent 3 years of high school with Zoe, until the college entrance exam ended. And during one of our reunion night classes, the lights went out. I secretly passed her a note. Zoe, be with me. And just like that, I tricked her into becoming my girlfriend. We got into 2 different colleges, mine in the far south, hers in the far north. The day we received our acceptance letters, I sat downstairs from her place and smoked all night. I told her, Zoe, what should I do? I won't be able to see you. Zoe froze, eyes turning red as she gripped my hand tightly and said, if love is separated by mountains and seas, then mountains and seas can be crossed. She smiled, and so did I. Fireworks exploded in that moment, brightening the sky like the promise of our future. That long night, that was the path we walked hand in hand. In college, I often went to see her, but back then I had nothing. My wallet was emptier than my pride. Once, after taking the cheapest train to visit Zoe, I had no money left for a cab, so we cuddled together in the waiting room, trying to keep warm, watching Zoe huddled in my arms, blowing warm air into her hands. My heart ached. I said, Zoe, let's get married after college. She froze, then nodded heavily, to afford train tickets and the bouquet of roses she loved. I worked every job I could find. I delivered packages at the campus pickup station, served food in the cafeteria, and even delivered takeout. But sometimes love can't cross mountains and seas. The distance was real, the gap was real. When she cried over there, I couldn't wipe her tears from here. I missed her so much. But Zoe had her projects. I had my research with my advisor. If the heart is a raging sea, then emotions will eventually flood it. All that bottled up love had to go somewhere, didn't it? That's when Miranda appeared. I first met her while working the food line at the cafeteria. At first, I didn't think much of it, but for 2 whole months, she kept showing up at the same window, until one day, she actually threw up from eating the same food. I handed her a tissue and asked, why do you keep doing this? She smiled and said, for you. Miranda was beautiful, always in white dresses, delicate and gentle, like a scene out of a serene novel. Everyone knew she was chasing me. They'd joke and say I was lucky. Only my roommate frowned and warned me, don't forget you have a girlfriend. But by then, I couldn't hear him anymore. Miranda once gave me a cute little rabbit. Its red eyes reminded me of Miranda when she cried. She would always wait for me to finish work and then softly ask, want to go for a walk with me? We'd stroll beneath the wisteria-covered walkway. Zoe messaged me once saying, I'm done with work. I hesitated for a second, then turned off my phone. After the walk, Miranda held milk tea in one hand and gently reached for mine with the other. I didn't pull away. I didn't resist. It was just holding hands. I thought there was no need to hurt her feelings. After all, no one could ever replace Zoe. But things change, bit by bit. Everything spiraled out of control. Miranda sent me good morning messages every single day. I always replied. Once, I didn't see it and replied late. She got all teary-eyed and threw a fit. After that, I marked her as a priority chat. She was silly but cute. I wanted to nickname her Bunny, but without realizing it, I typed pig. Zoe loved spicy Sichuan cuisine. Miranda preferred the lighter Cantonese style. During the 4 years of college, I constantly accompanied Miranda to Cantonese restaurants. Eventually, I couldn't handle spicy food anymore. So when I saw Zoe again, I took her to a Cantonese restaurant, pretending not to notice the disappointment in her eyes. Miranda always looked sweet and innocent, but she was incredibly seductive. She liked nibbling my ear in library corners, stealing food off my plate, and pretending to be weak so I'd carry her on my back. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted. It's not like I never considered breaking up. My relationship with Miranda was real, but the ambiguity with Zoe had lasted 3 years, and we'd been in love for 5. 8 years. Zoe was my entire youth. I still felt my heart race every time I saw her. As for Miranda, she was just a distraction when I felt empty. But I never expected Zoe to find out. That night I met with Zoe. Miranda was wearing my shirt and sitting on my lap. I pushed her away. I kept telling myself we were just friends. I rejected her. Nothing happened. That should be enough, right? Miranda liked the Hermès Un Jardin sur le Nil perfume. Zoe didn't like perfume. She drooled in her sleep, hated celery, was afraid to go downstairs at night, and was adorably dumb. She was alone. How could I feel at ease? I hated this indecisive version of myself, just like I hated my roommate Bruno. I hated how he once reminded me I had a girlfriend, as if I needed him to tell me. I hated the way he looked at me with disdain after I got together with Miranda. He had seen Zoe. He admired Zoe, but Zoe never looked at him twice, and that made me feel oddly satisfied. Still, I genuinely hated when Bruno said, "If you're not going to take care of her, then I will." I didn't need him to take care of her. Zoe and I were going to get married. On her birthday, when I was celebrating with her, Miranda sent me a message. "I'm drinking. Some guys are bothering me. I'm scared. I miss you." She sent a photo from a dimly lit bar, empty bottles scattered in front of her. I couldn't help but worry. Zoe asked what I was thinking. I smiled and wiped cake on her nose. "Of course I'm thinking about how to make your birthday special." But Zoe didn't smile. She looked at me with clear, piercing eyes, like she could see right through me. I hated that look. It made me feel like all my dirty secrets were laid bare. I made an excuse and left to find Miranda. In the booth, she reached up and kissed me. I thought about pulling away, but I didn't. I suddenly wanted to punish Zoe. She was wearing that scarf she knitted for me, the same one I'd sprayed with perfume. She knew, and she said nothing. I hated her cold, composed demeanor. Some part of me wanted to shatter her pride, rip her calm to shreds. I wanted her to beg me, to say she loved me, that she couldn't live without me. So I grabbed Miranda by the back of her head and deepened the kiss. That's when I got Zoe's message. "What are you doing?" I typed, "Sleeping. You should sleep early too." Seconds later, another message came in. "I'm in the booth behind you. Come clink glasses with me." I turned around. Zoe was there. She was crying and smiling at the same time, swirling the wine glass in her hand. In that moment, I knew Zoe and I were done. But I didn't want that. It had been 8 years. I was convinced that Zoe couldn't live without me. I believed she'd come back to me, so I didn't explain anything. I just pulled Miranda away from the scene. What I didn't expect was that Bruno had seen everything. He followed us that night. I didn't expect that Zoe would cry in his arms, that they'd get drunk, that things would happen between them. None of this I saw coming. Just like I never imagined I'd walk with Zoe through our youth in school uniforms, only to never reach the day when we'd grow old together. Bruno took what was mine. I heard they got together. And I broke. I started going to Zoe's favorite Sichuan restaurant every day, waiting for her. I finally saw her again. I wanted to say, "Zoe, let's go home. I know I messed up. Come see Coco. She misses you." So do I. But when I saw her leaning in to kiss Bruno, rage almost burned me alive, and what I ended up blurting out was, "Take Coco with you. Miranda's allergic to cats." Truth was, Miranda wasn't allergic to cat fur. I just wanted Zoe to hurt as much as I did in that moment. Zoe didn't even hesitate. She took Coco and burned everything we once shared. Even the scarf she had knit for me with her own hands. I stepped forward, wanting to grab it from the flames, to ask her if she remembered what that scarf meant. But in the end, I said nothing. I could feel it. Everything that mattered most to me was slowly vanishing from my life. I had lost Zoe. I couldn't accept it. So I started looking for her like a madman. But when I finally found her, I learned she was leaving the country. She blocked me on everything: WeChat, Instagram, TikTok, Douyin, even my Spotify comments. So ruthless. She refused to see me. I waited downstairs at her building night after night, but she never came. Out of options, I went to Bruno. I begged him to give Coco back, to give Zoe back to me. But Coco didn't want to go with me. Only then did I finally reflect. Maybe I had just been playing with the bunny, but I'd neglected Coco along the way. I started drinking, trying to dig up photos of Zoe. But I had nothing. She had burned them all. There was nothing left between me and Zoe. I drank so much I started vomiting blood. I figured, maybe it'd be better if I just died. Miranda went to find Zoe, begging her to visit me. Zoe poured hot coffee on her. I started hating her, Zoe. Yes, that's right. If it hadn't been for her, we wouldn't have broken up. We wouldn't have ended up like this. I proposed to Miranda. We sent invitations to our old friends. They all joked. Is the bride Zoe? If not, we're not coming. None of them showed up in the end. Good. I never touched Miranda. Not before marriage. Not after. I spent every day out drinking, until one day, Miranda finally got fed up and became someone else's side chick. When the wife of that man came to tear her apart, that's when I heard Zoe got married. I shattered the bottle in my hand, and in that moment, I just wanted to go back. Back to the classroom where Zoe used to sneak glances at me. Back to the day Bruno said, "If you don't take care of her, I will." My stomach burned. My heart felt like it was being ripped apart. Zoe, I'm sorry.